Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another mukbang. So I got a request to do another PIZOOKIE mukbang. So that is what I'm doing today. I made a regular PIZOOKIE this time and I just have some vegan ice cream on top. I'm super excited for this. It's my recipe once again. I just love testing new recipes and seeing if they're good, and yeah, I'm just so excited. And then over here, I have some vegan animal style fries. So before I was vegan, I never got the chance to try animal style fries at In-N-Out. I decided that I wanted to try and recreate them, and yeah. So I followed a regular like copycat In-N-Out recipe that wasn't vegan, but I just made everything vegan. And yeah, I'm so excited for this mukbang. I've actually kind of been planning a animal style fries mukbang for a long time now, but I've never gotten the chance to do it, but I finally am and I'm so excited. And then to drink, I'm also really excited. I've had this before. My friend Hannah taught me how to make a vegan pink drink. You take white cran strawberry juice, I think that's what it's called, and then you mix it with silk coconut milk, and it literally tastes so good. I could drink like that whole thing. Alright, I'm going to start with the animal style fries. I just got this fork at Walmart and I'm so excited to use it, so I'm just gonna dig in. So I don't know how this is supposed to taste, but I had my sister taste the sauce, also her friend, and they both said it tasted like, they said it tastes like a mixture of In-N-Out and Cane's, I think, cane sauce or something like that, so I'm really excited. Whoa. That is so good. Before I was vegan, I used to love Chick-fil-A, their signature sauce, and that's what this reminds me of, their fry sauce, and it tastes so good. Oh, and also for today's mukbang, I will be talking about some funny experiences that have happened to me. I thought it would be just a fun little thing to talk about. And also I've had a lot of really interesting things happen to me, so. I mean, some people have probably had crazier experiences or funnier experiences, but I just thought that these ones are really funny and I wanted to share them, so. So the first thing I want to talk about happened with my dad, my two sisters, and Rachel. So it was late at night. I don't remember why we were out, but we were in my dad's car. So my dad was driving, and then it was my oldest sister, then Rachel, then me, then Maylee. We were, I think, heading home from somewhere, but we were driving toward a traffic light, and the left-hand turn lane was separated by a median. But my dad didn't know that, so he went to turn into the left lane not knowing there was a median there, and he drove over the median. It was literally, it was so scary. For me, I thought he was like passing out or starting to pass out or something, because I thought that he was drifting and then he drifted over. I don't know, I was really scared. Then he was like, what the heck was that? Like, that didn't make sense on the road. I don't know how Lindsay and Maylee felt about the situation, but my dad, he tends to joke around a lot, and at the time, Rachel had only seen his joking side, so she started screaming, wait, what? That was an accident? I thought he was just kidding. And I was like, Rachel, I don't think he would have gone through that trouble to pop a tire, to lose a hubcap, just to make a joke. So that was really, really funny, and I never let my dad forget it, even though that's PTSD for him. So he knows I'm kidding when I bring it up, but it's in the past and it's over with. It's something we just laugh about now. I just want to keep eating these fries. They're so good. Mm. Right, I'm gonna dive into this PIZOOKIE. If it's as good as my last one, I'm gonna be so happy. Ooh, the outside's a little more crisp. And I put a layer of chocolate chips in the center, so. Oh my gosh. That's so good. Once again, the outside is super crisp, but the inside's super gooey. The chocolate, super sweet. The ice cream's all melted. This is super easy to eat. There is a pool of ice cream. So this next story is so funny. It's one of those things where you have to be there in order for it to be funny, but I'm still gonna tell you. So I was with my cousin and we were at a resort with the rest of my cousins, but we were hanging out in one of the rooms, and these rooms have bunk beds. She was sitting on hers, well, the one that she was using, and she was kind of mumbling to herself. She's like, why did you put the bed? And I didn't really know what she was saying, and I was like, what? Why? What's up? And she's like, my brother put his clothes all over my bed again. And she started like throwing them behind her, and oh my gosh, I still don't even know how she managed to do this. I watched her throw his shirt behind, and it landed, the door was kind of open, so it landed on the handle, and I was like, what? And then she threw the other one. It all happened so fast, but she threw his other clothing item and it landed on the other side of the door handle. So both of them had landed on a handle of the door, and I couldn't even form words. I was dying. I was laughing. It was so funny. And then she turned and she's like, what are you laughing about? And I was like, look what you did. And then she saw, and like, oh my gosh, that moment was one of the funniest moments of my life. I remember laughing so hard. I even filmed a video afterwards. I was like, this is what happened, just so you don't forget. It was so funny. My cousin has some serious skill. This PIZOOKIE is so good. The ice cream just died. It didn't want to try anymore. Me too. Oh my gosh, do you see that? Okay, so this next story I'm gonna preface with another story. And yes, it's relevant, so it's important that I tell you this other story before I tell you the actual story, if that makes sense. So Rachel and I started this thing where we would sit on her front porch and we would put blankets over the railing and build a little fort and have like snacks and stuff. And every time we did this, we would always do it at night, and we would always have to have a bag, family size, of Cheeto Puffs. What we would do is we would take the Cheeto Puffs and line them up on the street outside of her house and wait for cars to come, drive by, and drive over them. We were so rude. And we weren't trying to be rude or anything, we just thought it was funny when cars rode over the Cheeto Puffs because it would go and then we'd have flattened Cheeto Puffs in her driveway, basically. We just loved doing that. I don't know, we were just really weird little kids. We weren't even little kids. We were like 12, 13, maybe even 14. So I guess this story is kind of what led to the next story. So Rachel and I would always walk down. We have a gas station that's near our house. It's like a 15 to 20 minute walk, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a 30-minute walk, but it's close. And so one of the times we were walking down that street and there was so much poop on the sidewalk. Dog poop, dried dog poop. So I'm guessing people just didn't clean up after their dogs. Typical. But we were walking down and I guess we just decided that it would be fun to kick the poop into the street. So we did, and we would kind of wait for a car to pass by to drive over the poop, which is so mean and just gross. So I don't know what we were thinking, but we were never successful until one fateful kick of the poop. A poor person driving their poor white car drove over the poop and it exploded. Like, I kid you not, exploded. It went pfft. I just feel so bad for that person. I don't know what we were thinking, but then we ran and like we couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny at the time, but it's disgusting. Do not follow my example. It is not a nice thing to do. So don't do that. Okay? It was just an in the moment thing. Mm-hmm. So good. So this next story is also with Rachel. I feel like all my funny experiences have happened with Rachel. It's just because she's so fun and she always knows how to live it up. So that's why. We were hanging out at my dad's old job. He would sometimes take us to work with him, and so she came with me one of the times. At my dad's old work, they had Segways, like the company Segways, and we were allowed to ride them, and my dad was letting us ride them. There's an area in the parking lot where it cuts off, and there's a really high curb there, and then it's just a bunch of desert behind. Don't ask me how Rachel managed to do this, but she wasn't very well equipped with how to use the Segway. So she started heading toward the curb, and I guess she was going at a high enough speed where she didn't know like how to turn without falling off or something, and she didn't also know how to stop. So she went straight for the curb, but she didn't fall off. The Segway went up the curb. It wasn't even at a slant. I don't know how this happened, but she went up and over on the Segway, and she flew. I'm telling you, she caught air. It was so funny. I mean, my first reaction was to laugh, but then I was like, oh shoot, wait, hold on. And so I ran over to her and she stood up and I was like, Rachel, oh my gosh, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm just scared your dad's gonna get mad at me. She is so funny. She's always thinking of others. The segue was fine, I think. I mean, it seemed fine. It still worked. And my dad wasn't even mad. He was so sweet about it, but it was so funny. Mm. Mm. The best PIZOOKIes are gooey in the middle and crispy on the outside. So good. Mm, mm, mm. So the next story is actually from when I first moved here. My youngest brother Elijah was still a baby. I was with him and my mom in his room and we were just talking, and I actually have this on a recording, but I was kind of just talking to him and I think I started asking him questions, and I asked, Elijah, are you stinky? And he's like, yeah. And I said, Elijah, are you poopy? And he's like, yeah. And then I asked him, Elijah, do you love me? And he's like, no. And then my mom's like, Elijah, do you love your sister? And he's like, no. No, that's gross. So I totally understand why he said no, but it's just so funny because he was saying yes and then he straight up went, no. I just think that that's really, really funny. And when I first found that recording, I was with Maylee and we couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. So next is, once again, another story with Rachel. This one was actually while we were skateboarding. There's a little area we used to practice at. It's downhill. It's where I think first learned how to skateboard. It's a cul-de-sac, so it goes downhill and then you reach the cul-de-sac. And then we just skateboard around the cul-de-sac. It was just a nice beginner spot. We were heading down there one time while we were skateboarding, and I think she hit a rock and she biffed it and she fell off her skateboard and her skateboard went flying. And at first I was like, oh no, like kind of joking around because, you know, you biff it a lot when you're skateboarding. But she was laying on her stomach, her arms were at her sides, and she was not moving. And I was like, oh no. And so I ran to her side and she was just laying there like, ow. So she didn't die like I thought, but she looked so funny. Like she was just laying flat on her stomach. It's another one of those you have to be there moments, but she just looked so funny. And then we ended up actually going home because she scraped up her knees pretty bad, but it was just another in the moment thing. So that one actually leads me to my last story. It was another skateboarding story. We were going to go to Speedy Mart once again, and my cousins were visiting, and she wanted to be there for that. They had just gotten to my house when we were leaving to go to Speedy Mart. We're like, oh, we're just gonna go to Speedy Mart real quick. We'll be back. We'll be fast. And my uncle, he was very scary to us at the time. He was like, okay, you have 10 minutes. And so Rachel had a skateboard, and I didn't have a skateboard at the time, so I was biking down there. And we were going really fast down the street, and it was all downhill as well. And she started picking up a lot of speed. She was on the sidewalk and I was on the road. I was like, Rachel, I think you should probably like not go that fast because you're gonna fall. I don't think she heard me because she kept going, and then she tried to stop herself. Because usually when you're going really fast on a skateboard, you jump off and try to catch yourself by running. I don't know if she tried doing that, but she told me that she grabbed a pole and swung around it on her board and then slid into the rocks. And I only saw the end of it. It was really scary to watch because it looked like it hurt really bad. It's just something that we laugh about now, because in trying to only take 10 minutes, we made it take probably an hour because we had to go home. Well, actually, I think she called her mom to come pick us up. And then we went back to Rachel's house, and her mom was putting ointment on her nasty cuts that she got. We ended up taking like an hour. And we didn't even go to Speedy Mart. So we learned our lesson that day. We probably should have just stayed at home. But no, it was mandatory that we went to Speedy Mart because it was life or death, okay? I remember the first time I biffed it. Rachel and I were actually skateboarding at the park near our house. We were skateboarding on the basketball courts because it was just a fun thing. We would bring water bottles and then we would skateboard around the basketball courts and then shoot hoops with the water bottles while we were on our skateboards. I think that was the first time I biffed it because there was a rock on there and then I fell and scraped my elbow. I don't even think Rachel saw. She might have, but I don't think she did. And then I was like, oh, and then I just got back up and then started skateboarding again. It was not bad for my first biff. So I got pretty lucky because usually first biffs are really bad. I actually tripled the amount of sauce because the original amount was not enough. It made so much less than this, and I'm so glad that I decided to triple it because it would have not been enough. This is really, really good. I polished off this food almost. Not really. There's still quite a bit here, but this is going to be my last bite. Alright guys, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked all of my funny stories and thought they were funny. I hope you had a good laugh. I did. I wasn't expecting to really laugh in this video, but I had more giggles than I expected. This food was so good. I really wanted to finish it all, but I'm full, so I'm stopping here. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!